What's up, everybody? This is RadTechShoe, and I have some Call of Duty Advanced Warfare gameplay for you. What you're looking at right now is me playing Momentum on Detroit. I'm using the ASM-1 Magnitude. I've got Quick Draw, Foregrip, and Advanced Rifling. And it is just, this might be my new favorite setup for the ASM-1. At least for the Magnitude variant, until hopefully one day I get the Strider or Speakeasy. Hopefully I get one of the Elite variants of this gun, but sadly that has not happened. So right now I'm just stuck with the Magnitude variant. And anyway, I'm just gonna go all out in this game, try and play the objective, and just be a slayer as well. So you're just gonna see me get a lot of kills, but also have an extraordinary amount of deaths as well as we push this game all out, and it goes into overtime. And without further ado, let's get right into the commentary about what happened to me today, and that is my Army boards. I had my board exam today, my Soldier of the Month board. I did pretty well. I answered all the questions that were asked of me pretty exceptionally. I did very well. I was surprised. What happened though? I'll walk it through step by step. First thing they do is they brought me in, and they had me come in. I saluted the president, and I told them, you know, Specialist Shoemaker reporting for the board. And then they had me do some facing movements. They had me recite the Soldier's Creed, the Creed of the Non-Commissioned Officer, the Army Medic song, and then after I was done with the facing movements, and after I was done with all of the reciting that they asked me to do, they had me take a seat, and then they started questioning me after they introduced themselves to me as well. So pretty much that was pretty straightforward. The first part went without a hitch. You know, I can project my voice very well, and you know, as long as you sound confident when you're reciting your creeds and your songs, it's definitely a plus. It's definitely something that works in your favor, is if you project your voice in a very loud, commanding way. You know, if you're kind of soft and weak, and you're kind of like, oh, you know, and you sound a little unsure of yourself, and you're not real confident, they're gonna notice that, because the board is not only about testing your knowledge; it's testing your poise, the demeanor you have. It's testing how you present yourself. And that's definitely one thing that I got tested on, and I'll get to that in a minute. It's kind of funny, but at the same time, you know, it's part of where I screwed up. But for the most part, the first part, you know, with me coming in, introducing myself, I didn't introduce myself. I came in, I saluted, and then they had me do facing movements and marching, and then they had me recite my creeds and songs. That part went well. Then they had me sit down in a chair right in front of them, and then I recited my biography, which pretty much is a short story, like one paragraph long, about me. Who I am, where I come from, what I've accomplished, what I hope to accomplish in the short-term and long-term goals. And that's pretty much, and why I think I should win the board. You know, they even asked me, tell us about your bio and tell us why you think you deserve to win this board. And so I told them my biography, and I told them about that it's, you know, that why I feel like I deserve to win this board, and you know, pretty much that part went well too. We got into the the questions. They started asking me questions about the history of the Army, some recent current events, and some of the, you know, other stuff that's going on. They didn't ask me to name any current events going on, which I was expecting. Instead, they asked me, who did the Russians recently, you know, form an alliance with? And I was like, and you know, they asked questions like that instead of making, because usually what I have been trained and taught to expect is they'll ask you to list some current events, like you're in the driver's seat at that point. They tell you to mention what events are going on around the world or in the country. And this time around, they didn't do that. They changed things up a little bit, and they said, this is going on, but what else is going on in regards to it, related to it. So they pretty much gave like half of an event, and they wanted you to be knowledgeable on the other half. But luckily, I managed to answer some of those questions correctly. They asked me more personal stuff about like what's in the manuals and stuff like that, about promotions, about Article 15s, and I'll get into art. And for those of you who don't know how promotions work or Article 15s, I'll eventually do videos on those as well. But for the most part, I actually answered a majority of the questions correctly. There weren't that many questions that I had no clue how to answer. They asked me generic statement. They asked me generic stuff that was more about like what is blah 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 blah. What is this philosophy and so on and so forth. And they asked me all these questions about that. So for the most part, like I said, when it came to answering questions, I sounded off real well. I used a loud, commanding voice. I sounded confident when I spoke, and I definitely made an impression. Which is good. Like I said, when you're answering, you don't want to talk in this weak, meager, unsure sounding voice. You want to sound confident. You want to sound like you're sure of yourself, that you know what you're talking about, that you're absolutely positive about what you're speaking about. So that they want to make sure that you're actually knowledgeable and that you sound professional and that you sound knowledgeable, that you pretty much have to sound off. They want to make sure that you do that. And I did that, but that was also part of the problem. Because my tactic, because actually there's a tactic that some boards will actually make an effort to distract you. They will make an effort, because when one of the 5 board members is asking you questions, the other board members will be doing stuff. One of them could be talking on their phone. One of them could be reading a book. One of them could be two of them could be talking to each other. And they want to make sure you don't, shift your eyes away. That if something happens, if someone coughs or if someone sneezes or whatever, that you don't, that you just don't lose your poise. That you don't, get distracted. That you don't, shake or break or in any way, shape, or form. That you maintain your composure at all times when in these boards and in these situations. They want to test your discipline and your character. And I came in here with the mentality of expecting that. That's what all boards do. They always try and test you. They try and see if you're gonna waver, if you're gonna budge on something, if you sound unsure. They might, they'll ask you a question. And if you sound unsure, they'll ask you, "Are you sure? Are you absolutely sure? Are you positive? I have, can I quote you on that?" They'll try and get you to doubt yourself, and it's not, they're not trying to be mean. They're just trying to make sure that you sound off, that you respond with confidence and with charisma. They want to make sure that you know what you're talking about. So that was pretty much what I was expecting going to this board. I had the mentality of expecting, okay, they're going to ask me questions, and if they see any vulnerability, they see any weakness, they see me flinch, they see me budge, they see me, they see any tells of anything that looks like I might, be second-guessing myself or a sign of weakness. If they see anything like that, they're going to try and target that to exploit it, because it's something they want us to improve on, and by doing so, and by targeting it and making us aware of it, that lets us know, hey, we need to work on this. We have something we need to work on. So anyway, that was the reason I came in with that mentality. I came in expecting for any one of them to try to mess with me, to try and say something to get me second guess myself, or just to try and say something to maybe make me laugh. Some of them might even tell jokes, or mention something actually quite funny, and they want to see if they make you budge. That's their goal, is to try and test you in multiple ways. So now we're going to get into the part of what happened with me. Everything was pretty much doing good. My facing movements needed a little work. I was a little rigid with them. I wasn't as fluid and as crisp as they wanted me, and they took note of that. And my first line supervisor, my first line supervisor who was there with me, the sergeant, because we have pretty much like an NCO chaperone, someone who comes in and is not a member of the board, but he sits off to the side and takes notes on what you did right, what you did wrong, and so on and so forth. And he'll accept critique for you. He'll take notes for you while in the middle of the board. He sits off to the side. He doesn't interact with you or with the board members. He's not part of the exam. He's literally just observing you and what you're doing right and what you're doing wrong. So my facing movements, left face, right face, about face, that they needed work. I wasn't as crisp with them as I should have been. But what really hurt my chances of winning was my demeanor, was my attitude. Because I came in expecting them to mess with me, expecting them to try and get me to flinch, and I took this very strong, serious tone, this no-nonsense tone, with my attitude and my voice. I sounded off real loud and real strong, sure and confident. However, because I was so sure of myself and I was so confident in my answers, and I tried my best to, even if I didn't know the answer, you try your best to sound confident. Sound off. Don't be afraid. Don't be speaking in some weak little voice. Speak loudly. And because I took that too seriously and I sounded off too strong, I was too confident, I actually sounded like I was cocky, and a couple times I sounded disrespectful. Like I answered one of them so seriously to the point where it sounded like I snapped at them. And they took note of that. And the first line, my observer who was watching me, even he noticed that. And he, a couple of the NCOs, one of them on the board even looked at my first line and it was like, whoa, oh my God, did that just really happen? And so they're pretty surprised at that. Like, they were not expecting my behavior to be the way it was. I wasn't trying to be mean. I wasn't trying to be cocky or disrespectful or anything like that. I was trying my best to sound so confident that it would blow them away. But my confidence at a couple times, not the entire time, but a couple times, it sounded as if it were arrogance. Like, I'm too good for this. Like, when they asked me a question, I was like, yes, Sergeant. And I kind of sounded like I was being disrespectful. And that's part of the reason why I didn't win. I took second place. One of my battles, Hesselschwart, Specialist Hesselschwart, I like to call him Hasselhoff or Hazelnut. He took first place. So me and my radiology buddy, we both took first and second place. We both worked our butts off. We studied hard. We worked hard. He earned the first place. I got second place. There were 7 competitors total, and both radiology took first and second place. So you couldn't ask for any more from our department. We represented well. I learned some new things. I learned what I need to improve on, and I learned that I don't need to sound so confident to the point where it's mistaken as arrogance. So I need to be mindful of that. I need to address how I talk, how I speak, and it's just something I need to work on. It's something that I'm going to use to grow, and that's what's important. You got to use whatever you can to grow. So, even though I didn't win, I'm still going to use what I learned here, and come back next month in the February month board, and I'm going to plan on winning that. So as long as you walk away learning something, it's not a waste of time. It's a positive learning experience, and that's pretty much it. That's going to wrap up this commentary, and that's all that I had. I'm done with my board, and I plan on attending next month's, and I will give you guys an update on that one as well. I hope you enjoyed my commentary. I hope you enjoyed my gameplay, and I will see you guys all later. This is RadTech Shoe, signing off.